Hello everyone, welcome to VisionCast, the official podcast of RangerVision.com. I am your host, moderator, the King of Spades. Joining me is super moderator, Raging Phoenix.
Hello?
Super moderator, Crimson Ranger.
Hello everyone.
Non-moderator, Hakumen.
Yo!
And non-moderator, Geeky Girl 15.
Hey there.
So, as per last time, if you watched the podcast, if not, check out today. We will turn over to the news. Take us away, Hakumen.
Oh, thanks. Really, truly. Okay guys. We got the VisionCast going, which is this podcast, and okay, obviously as you guys are listening now, it's members of RV just getting together, chatting, bantering, having a laugh and discussing things along the way, And apparently there's going to be a new logo for it as well, so that'll be pretty awesome. Thanks to Go Say Manta for that one. Cheers, darling. You're fabulous. We're going to have some new icons done by Anahi. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Right, thank you. And, it's be some new icons and all posts on the site. And so thank you sincerely for doing that, dear. We're going to be revamping the site as well. Primmy, do you want to go for that one?
Yes. If you guys didn't know, we did something called the Ultimate Ranger Tournament, where members voted on who they thought was the Ultimate Ranger. After the success of that tournament, it was decided that we will be doing future Ultimate Tournaments. And members had 1 week to vote between doing Mentors, Villains, Megazords, and Morphers. Megazords received the most votes, and depending on when this podcast is up, the tournament may or may not have started. But be on the lookout for the new Ultimate Megazord Tournament beginning Saturday, February 9th.
Awesome.
Very excited for that.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll be pretty cool. Okay, another stuff, we got Megaforce news as well, and Rage, do you want this one, or do you want me to do it?
No, you go ahead.
Alright, okay. So, as some of you guys may or may not know, Megaforce is coming out, and so far it's been quite well received. Although there's been a few, mixed reactions here and there about some of the stuff. But hopefully, with any luck, hopefully it'll be cool. With any luck, better than Samurai, my god. Honestly.
Can't get much worse than that.
No, you really can't. Blummin' heck, honestly, you really, really can't get worse than that. Anyway, we also got some Sentai news, so, yeah, Rage, you go for this one, bro.
Alright, well, I think that the latest news is that the batteries that go into the guns, if I'm correct, have been announced. We're up to 23 right now. There's all kinds of dinosaurs in those batteries. I'm not actually sure whether those are all of them or whether they plan to have a whole lot of more batteries in the style of Wild Force, basically, or Gao Ranger. But yeah, that's the latest news, and yeah, it should air soon. So really
Juden Sentei Kyoryuger is airing February 17th, I believe.
Wait, is that the new Sentai stuff that's coming out?
Yeah.
Ah, cool.
Wait, the new Sentai stuff in Sentai news? No.
No, well, it's based on dinosaurs, which is really a throwback to Mighty Morphin as well as Dino Thunder when it comes here in America, and yeah, so it's really exciting, especially for people who grew up with Power Rangers. Even if they watch Sentai now, I'm sure that they are quite excited for this.
Fabulous. So, what's next on the agenda, guys?
Yes, so now that we've done the news, as per normal, we normally read out a fan fiction or RPG. For this, take us away, Raging Phoenix.
Alright, I chose an actual Ranger Vision production. Back in the day, our site owner decided to make a very cool RPG, which was Power Rangers Academy Hexagon Rising. This was an RPG where basically the players would be in a school. There were a few teachers and a few students, and we'll be reading some of the first posts of that. And we'll start out with Hakumen as Matthew Kidd.
All right. Cool. So, it's one thing. Am I doing this like in third person or first? Humor me.
Read it as it's written.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Do I get a drum roll? No drum roll. Okay.
Drum. Start, mother.
Language! Anyway, Matt walked through the door into the open foyer of Donnie's bachelor pad. Looking around, he saw many familiar faces. Those whom had joined the academy over the years. Then there were the new kids that had just recently started at PRA, making his way past a few cute girls, and one or two drunk nimrods that had no right to be here, finding who he was looking for eventually. 2 individuals to be exact, Donnie Dawkin and Caleb Harker, his 2 closest friends and former squad members. They were known to nearly all here at the academy as the Brotherhood. As he approached them, he jumped out of the road of one of the drunks that seemed to be running away from a very angry girl. "Yo, Summers, Hamo! Get back here now, damn it!" The 2 students stopped in their tracks and turned around to see who was calling them. Turned out to be one of the new advisors and one of the most respected graduate students, and they knew better than to tempt fate. So almost immediately, they turned around and quickly came to the attention in front of Matthew. Cadet Hamo was the first of the 2 brave enough to speak up. Yes, sir. What is it, sir? What I want to know is why Cadet Hamo is chasing Cadet Summers through the middle of a party. Hold on. Sorry about that. Yeah. Through the middle of a party and seemingly ruining everyone's night. Looking around the room, everyone in the vicinity of this conversation was staring at the 2 new students with very sour looks on their faces. Being stared down by a bunch of potential future rangers? Most definitely not a good thing. He said he loved me. I found out he slept with this other girl, this whore! Summers! Don't do it again. Hamo, drop it. Both of you make sure that neither of you interrupt a party like this again. Or all of them. Well, make sure your next 4 years are a living hell. Now be off with both of you. He left the 2 bedazzled cadets behind and eventually made his way to Caleb and Donnie's side. It didn't smell too pleasant, but you get used to it after being around the dock for a while. Boys, been a while, hasn't it? Matt picked up a beer off the pool table from behind him and took a sip of it. I heard that the Atom and the teachers are activating Project Hexagon. Things are getting really bad with REA. From them to want to do that. I still think there are enough currently active rangers, including all the graduates of the academy, to handle the situation, but oh well. Anywho's, I've been assigned to Squad 278, the Shogun Squad. I might come along to scout out with some potential members. Matt has a look around, taking a few notes of a few students that he would mention to Adam, and that he would like to have under his command, and taking another sip of his drink. So anyway, enough of my dribbling. How are you both since, well, last year's incident?
Dustin Rowland, the dock's dorm room. Dustin was kind of nervous about entering the party. He stood at the door for a while trying to think to himself, what if they don't like me? Or if they think I'm being stuck up? If I just don't talk? He began to see people go in. He kind of backed up and started to walk away. Then he realized that if he turned around now, he would never make any friends. So slowly he turned around and started to walk to the door. He reached towards the doorknob and opened the door. The room was filled with people. Dustin felt kind of alone. He really was alone, no one to talk to, and no one who he felt he could talk to. So he took a seat and watched as everyone was having a good time. As he sat there, he thought about how lonely he would be when he started his training, because he really is never like this. Quiet to himself, he usually is outgoing. But these people are different. They are so from different levels of training. So he just sat there.
There was a raging party going on the boys' floor of the dormitories. She knew that because there was once again a steady beat from the music pounding the floor. Of course, she hadn't been invited again, but that was nothing new. Peyton was rarely invited to anything, and even when she didn't go, which was probably why she didn't have any friends here, or maybe it was her personality that turned people off. But either way, here she was, alone in her room with the party raged just a few yards from her. Now that was depressing. Usually Peyton didn't mind so much to be left out of things. She usually just grabbed a book and studied or brushed up on some vocabulary, went down to the gym to avoid the sounds of the party and the beat stuffing out of the punching bags. But tonight she laid on her bed and listened to the sounds of cadets shouting music and blasting joy. Rolling over her bed, Peyton vaguely wondered who was throwing the party this time, arms sticking out over the floor, sighing. I'm pathetic, aren't I? The words were both out loud and to herself, but no one else in the room. Peyton didn't feel uncomfortable talking to herself. Usually because she was a lot smarter than other people she had to talk to and got more things done that way. Okay, that was sad. But to be fair, it was true. Aggravated at her own thoughts, she stood and stripped off her school clothes, putting on something a little more comfortable for the party. She didn't own anything more comfortable for a party. Frowning, she grabbed a pair of jeans and hugged her hips and put on the least pretentious shirt she owned, a plain black t-shirt. She took a minute to adjust her ponytail so it sat high on her head, again bravely leaving the safety and security of her dorm room and walking around until she found the source of the noise. Entering the room, she found dozens of cadets hanging out together, being as loud and rambunctious as they tend to be, and reminding Peyton why she rarely ended up at parties in the first place. Before they figured out it was easier to hate her than deal with her being her friend. The music was loud and obnoxious, as though everyone seemed to be singing or moving along to it. Peyton hadn't heard it before in her life. That at the other downside, she had no idea what was popular or cool at any given time. To be fair, she never had out of her element. She slipped through the crowd, ignoring by virtually everyone to the back where there were much fewer people. Doubting her decision coming to the party, she caught sight of a stack of pristine books sitting on the table. The top was the same English book she had, so she grabbed it and curled herself up in the corner, settling down to read the story she'd been assigned for the second time.
Cal Stevenson. Cal entered the Doc's dorm room where the party was. He took one look around and saw people talking, dancing, drinking, just having a good old time. Cal was a first-year student there at the Ranger Academy, so he hadn't really gotten to know anyone all that well yet. He had decided that this would be the day that he gained some friends, one way or another. He wanted to establish himself as the man. As he looked around the room, he saw a girl he recognized. Her name he wasn't so sure on, but she was just sitting by herself reading a book. Looks like someone could use a person to talk to, he said to himself as he looked up and down. She was wearing a plain black t-shirt with some nice fitting jeans. He walked through the crowd of people, making his way over to her. Peyton. No need to say anything. Yes, it's real. I know that you can't believe it, but Cal Stevenson has come to talk to you out of everyone else here at this party. How about you go put that book down? That way me and you can go upstairs and do some studying of our own. And this kind of studying will require you to birthday suit up, if you know what I'm saying. If you don't, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out what I'm getting at. But let me tell you what I have in store for us. Will be legend. Wait for it, because I'm sure you know how this goes. Dairy. Legendary. And with that, he put on the brightest smile he could.
Engrossed in her reading, the party's sounds kind of faded away, brought back in a harsh jolt when she heard her name. Her eyes widened as one of the newer students was talking to her. He was trying to be smooth. At least that's what she thought he was doing. It sounded like a commercial. What the hell? He advertising himself? What the hell kind of pickup line was that? He didn't know about the way guys got girls, not that they'd ever paid so much attention as an ounce of her attention to her in her life, except maybe as a friend. Wait, did he just tell her to get naked? And why was he separating the word legendary? She knew how this went. What? He was just smiling at her, expecting her to fall at his feet and just go to sleep with him like he wanted. Peyton stared at him blankly for a moment. Her facial expressing slowly moved towards concern for his mental status before turning back to the book in her hands, completely ignoring him. What was the point in encouraging another cadet to speak to her when that was what the last thing she wanted right now? Why are you at the ass? Damn, even her conscience was a bitch. She slid down the chair, holding the book up higher, hoping that person would go away and leave her alone. The second she could see the door again, she was out of there, going to finish rereading the book up in the peace and quiet of her own dorm room. Parties weren't her thing. She knew that, and whatever had possessed her to come down to this one was clearly gone. There was nothing keeping her here but the fact that the door was currently being used as a brace for a girl who was having her neck assaulted by one of the male cadets. Great. Escape route locked. Peyton went back to focusing on the book she was reading, trying to block out the sound and forget where she was.
Dustin Rowland, the doc's room, for now. Dustin started to get really bored. He shifted his weight a million times before he made up his mind. He knew this wasn't getting anywhere, so he got up and started to walk out as he whispered to himself, "If I am out of here, there is nothing in here for me." He walked towards the door. He reached for the door and opened it, and he walked out. At the point he was walking inside the hallway, going outside, he began to get his phone. He began to get out his phone to give one of his friends a call so he can really chill. "Hey, what's up?" "Nothing, man, chilling. What are you trying to do?" Dustin, at that point, had a little smile on his face as he said, "Meet me at the diner. We're going to chill." He hung up the phone and walked towards his car to get ready to leave, when the same man who caught him in the park came running after him. "Wait!" Dustin turned around and rolled his eyes. "What, man? I'm leaving. I don't know why I should stay." "So you can get to know someone, dude," said the man. "Come on." The man grabbed his arm. "Hold on. Let me at least cancel my plans that you ruined," Dustin said, reaching for his phone. "Hey, man. Sorry, plans cancelled. I am forced back into the party. Call you later." And he hung up. On their way back to the party, Dustin asked, "Who are you?" With no answer, they finally walked back into the party. Dustin looked around once more and rolled his eyes as he sat down next to a girl reading a book. This was his chance to either now or never. He looked at the young lady and said, "Dull party, huh?"
Cal Stevenson. Cal waited for the girl to answer, but she never did. She looked up at him for a brief moment, then went right back to her reading. "Maybe you didn't hear me. I just gave you a one-time only ticket to the show, starring me." Then some dude sat beside her and started to talk to her. A look of horror spread across his face. Obviously, this dude didn't know who he had just stepped over the line. He had just committed a huge infraction in Cal's book. "Excuse me for a second, sweetie," Cal said as he pulled the dude to the side. "Dude, you just violated a huge infraction in the BC." He waited for the guy to respond. "The bro code. Oh dear lord. You don't know the bro code? Let me inform you. Rule 116 clearly states, a bro shall not kill another bro or that bro's chances to score with a chick. Hence what you just did. You blocked me, man, and that is not cool."
Dustin Rowland, the doc's party. As Dustin was waiting for a response from the young lady, He then noticed a guy standing over her trying to talk to her. Maybe you didn't hear me, I just gave you a one-time only ticket to show, starring me. Dustin just rolled his eyes as he continued. At that point, the boy recognized that Dustin was sitting there trying to get this girl to talk, and he felt very angry. Excuse me for a second, sweetie. He then pulled Dustin. Dustin broke away and said, What's the deal, dude? And the guy answered him, Dude, you just violated a huge infraction of the BC, the Bro Code. Oh dear Lord, you don't know the Bro Code. Let me inform you. Rule 116 clearly states, a bro shall not kill another bro, or that bro's chances to score with that chick. Hence, what you just did, you blocked me, man, and that is not cool. Dustin looked at him and said, What the hell? You can have her. I'm just trying to make friends, dude. Dustin said as he sat there right down next to the girl, giving the gesture to the guy to try again. At that point, he felt that he was going to be really cool with this guy. Possibly this girl, if she wasn't so stuck up all the time and actually spoke.
Joanna Perinsky, also known as Jazz. Jazz has been standing at the Doc's dorm room for a while now, leaning against the wall, enjoying a beer. She could have chosen better clothes for this party. Baggy pants didn't really make it easy to lean against a wall, and she had this vertical line of pink skulls running down her t-shirt that kind of were distracting her. Looking at it from the edge of her visual field, outside her focus, it kind of looked freaky. Soon enough, though, the new first year started to make scenes. Was her year so troublesome last year? First two of them got into a fight of sorts, started running all over the place about apparently some romantic issue, and then got told off by the advisor Shogun guy. And now a weird scene was developing next to her. Carl or something? Carl didn't seem quite right. Maybe it was Kevin. Come on, he just said his name. It was Carl, most definitely. That was what advisor Paris said when he was introduced to the squad, I think. Anyway, Carl, with his usual overconfidence, when it comes to women and them wanting to do stuff with him, had been trying to hit on a fourth-year girl who didn't talk much as she was reading a book. She ignored him, which admittedly Jazz might have done as well, but then another first year started talking to her, which Carl didn't take very well. Oh, don't worry about him, he's a lot of talk, Jazz said to the first year, who had just sat down. And she's not really worth the trouble either, she said, half whispering, hoping the ones she was talking to wouldn't hear. You couldn't have chosen much worse when it comes to making friends than those two.
Cal Stevenson. Cal laughed at the guy as he said he was just trying to make friends. He didn't seem like such a bad guy. You know what guy whose name I don't remember at this point? You might not be so bad. I mean, clearly there's a lot I have to teach you, but I'm always up for a challenge. He started to turn his attention back to the girl who was reading. But then some even hotter girl came along and started talking. And he couldn't lie. She was much hotter. Actually, she was kind of pretty in her own special way. Wait a minute, Cal. What are you doing? Those thoughts are for the weak, and you, my friend, are not weak. Now this girl is easily a 9, but that's no reason to lose your cool. She was whispering, but he could still hear some words of what she said. And he was taken back. I'm all talk? Are you doubting my skills? Listen here, girlie. I can show you better than I can tell you. Alright? I've seen you around and you're quite the looker. So, I have no problem with making a believer out of you.
Well, and that's where we conclude the reading of the RPG for this podcast. I really felt it was a cool RPG, so thought everyone should hear about it. And I think actually
and the lobotomy is over.
Trinity,
I am totally that girl who's reading the book.
Well, anyway, right now Nero Trinity is actually doing an RPG called First Class, which is kind of a spin-off of this, so you might want to check that out as well.
Very cool. And yeah, the original one is available in the archives, like you said. And speaking of the archives, It's time to look back once again in Power Ranger history with our topic or discussion for today. Take us away, Crimson Ranger.
Yes, well, it was a couple nights ago, well, like a week ago on Skype, and Mole said, King of Spades said, Crimson Ranger, you need to choose the topic for the next podcast. And so...
Did he say it that posh?
No.
Yeah, exactly like that.
No, I believe it was more along the lines of, I don't really care. You can choose it, Crimson.
All right. Trying to make me seem awesome here.
Oh,
anyway.
Sorry. Try again.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyway, as I was saying,
Sorry.
I don't know, the topic just kind of came to me because I thought it was a good one, and a lot of people have different views on this certain topic, and we are going to be talking about underrated Power Ranger seasons.
Cool.
Someone start that's not me.
Okay, I'll go first. The one I choose is Lightspeed Rescue. Lightspeed Rescue.
Why did you say that like you were announcing a Pokemon?
It's the same age group. But yeah, Lightspeed Rescue.
I choose you.
I chose Lightspeed Rescue only because, let's face facts, Lightspeed Rescue, it got a lot of stuff right. Some stuff it didn't, but let's face facts why it's underappreciated. It's a more realistic season. It's not like some big floating head being like, oh, let's choose some random teenagers. It's like,
Be racist at the same time.
yeah, it's like these people are actually military trained or have some sort of experience as like cops or doctors. It's like they actually put effort into handpicking people. So I don't know, these people are left in the room now though. So that worked. It was also the first and I believe possibly only Power Ranger season that's made its own Power Ranger for the duration of the season. I know Jungle Fury kind of did, but this one did the Titanium Ranger as the Sixth Ranger. That was kind of cool.
It was awesome.
Yeah, Lightspeed, and as well as that, Lightspeed Rescue is one of the few Ranger seasons, I'm going to say, honestly, I have no problem with any of the characters. There's always at least one character that just annoys me. But this season, the characters were kind of cool. I thought the villain didn't quite match the theme, but the character was cool.
You even liked Kelsey?
I liked them.
I didn't like Carter.
I think Carter was pretty cool, actually. I mean, come on, he didn't have the whole...
with the season really was that, you know, after all those things, like, well, we've got these aliens who had made these incredible powers, and it was kind of, well, you know, that was where the powers were from, and then suddenly, you know, you say that it's kind of cool that it's suddenly military trained and everything, but that was more like, well, and suddenly America can do it as well, you know.
America?
America. It kind of felt, yeah,
America.
militaristic and stuff. I don't know. I didn't like that.
To be fair, Power Rangers is an American show. Yes, it's based on...
Yeah, true. I agree.
So
but
it needs to go to its target audience. And let's face facts. When you're a kid, you like playing cops and robbers. So the fact like one of the Rangers is a cop and shit, it's like, that's kind of cool. One of them's a doctor. That's kind of cool. It's like, okay, it's teaching kids. When you grow up, if you want to be a Power Ranger, cool, you can be a Power Ranger, yeah, maybe. But it's teaching kids not to get chosen to be a Ranger because you happen to do gymnastics really well and be like, for sure. It's a case of...
For sure.
A doctor and stuff. You can be a Ranger because you're a doctor. Not you're going to be a Ranger just because, I don't know, you see danger, so you go, oh, I know, let's run towards it.
I don't know what I find more funny, that whole sentence or the fact he just said, "Hajah."
That was supposed to be Kindle.
Basically preparing kids saying, just in case life doesn't personally select you out of millions to have godly powers, you should probably have a backup that pays pretty well.
Yeah.
Do that.
I wonder how well being a Power Ranger pays.
I mean, let's face
Probably not.
Let's face facts with Power Rangers. With when they've chose people before now, it's been stupid. I mean, an example of this, a big example, Mighty Morphin. I like Mighty Morphin, I like the character, but come on. The first pilot episode, we see Billy not know how to fight and being bullied and pushed around, and Zordon looks and goes, you know what? there's a guy to send in the front lines against monsters. Yeah. What's that?
Well, that might be true, but I'm still sticking with my point that I felt that it was a bit. I mean, maybe it made more sense, but on the other hand, I just didn't like the whole idea of we're so awesome and we made this awesome team that otherwise aliens could only make, but now America can do it.
No, it's like, oh look, monsters are destroying the city. Who should we send? I know. Let's find a guy that can dance really well.
Well, yeah, I take that point, but
I don't know what I find funnier, the fact that Rage is Dutch and he's like saying in America, or just actually, yeah, that counts. That is just fucking hilarious.
But yeah, I think we discussed Lightspeed Rescue a little too much, and I may have insulted Mighty Morphin, which is ironic because that's one of my favourite seasons.
Yeah.
On to someone else's favourite.
Mighty Morphin is awesome, except the fact they said, okay, which kids exercise and do nothing else? Okay, then.
Ouch.
Yep.
Grimmy.
Oh, my turn?
Yeah,
sure.
I actually have 2 seasons I'd like to discuss just a little bit. The first would be Power Rangers Mystic Force, and I know what you're thinking.
Boo.
Whoa, really?
I
Mystic
just
Force?
said it out loud.
Well, yeah. I love Mystic Force. I'm a huge Harry Potter nut, and so when this came out, it seemed like 2 of my favorite things mixed together: Power Rangers and Harry Potter, and I love that. I also like it because it's the first season where bad guy has their own Zord and they use it regularly.
Well,
I thought that was kind of cool, and the fact that it was actually called a Megazord too.
Again, what about SPD? Every monster of the week had a Megazord.
Yeah, but like I said, this is the first one that appears over and over again. It's just not a different one each season.
Yeah, and the Zords in SPD weren't really Zords as much. I mean, they were robots, but it was a bit far-fetched.
Yeah, they weren't called Megazords either.
Yeah.
Whereas
Korax
was.
Like I said, that's a good point. If they're not called Megazords, they're not a Megazord. Like if they're not called Ranger, they're not a Ranger. Good point.
Aren't they robots, like every single one of them? Isn't that just an umbrella term for everything?
But continue, Matt. Continue.
I like that it's told, like, essentially the season is being told as a storybook, because in the first episode you see the Xenotome opening and it telling the story of the great battle, and then 5 warriors must be chosen, and then the last episode ends with Claire closing the Xenotome, and it was a good end to what I thought was a good series. And I know many people didn't like the whole focus on Nick, but I really thought that his story of fulfilling his destiny and finding his parents and where he really belonged, I really liked that.
Yeah, I think the story was good. I didn't like the character much, but to be honest, I didn't think Mystic Force was that bad, although I guess that you and me are kind of alone in that.
Yeah.
But I'll admit, I thought Mystic Force was pretty bad. However, there is some good stuff to it.
Yeah.
Like, one point I remember the other day, was it you I was talking to at the time, Rage, when I was watching Mystic Force? When I was like, holy cow, just to make it more PG. But I was like, holy cow, this is the first season where I think they've done this. And he was like, and whoever I was talking to was like, what? And I was like, they're not wearing their respective Ranger colours. Huh? I mean, I noticed, okay, they are, but it's a lot more hidden because they got purple crap over it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you actually go, huh, to the TV?
I did. I was like, huh, when I was watching it, because I was watching it at the same time I was talking to people, and I was like, huh? And they were like, what's wrong? I was like, they're not wearing their Ranger colours. This is weird. But I was like, I kind of like that, because it's not like, oh, look, there's 6 people of the exact same colours as the Ranger running towards danger. Who could they possibly be?
Exactly.
But the thing was, I actually also liked all the characters except for Nick. I mean, I actually liked them. It wasn't just, well, I can stand them. They were actually good.
Right.
Cool.
Another thing I liked is that the first and so far only season where the Rangers actually become the Zords. I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah.
because
That's
it's
true.
going on the magic thing. The other season that needs mentioning, I think,
Can I
is
just step in
RPM.
one thing?
What?
However, when they did with the Zords, apparently the Sentai fixed my mistake. I didn't like the men becoming their Zords, only because they joined together, and it's like, okay, they're the Zords, they've now joined together as one Zord. Why are they still in the cockpit? Apparently in the Sentai it's explained as a spiritual plane in which all the spirits meet to control this fusion. Which
Yeah.
is perfect.
Yeah, I kind of saw it as like in the brain or something, you know.
And if they'd mentioned that, I would have been like, cool, okay, that makes sense, I'll let that go. The fact they didn't, every time I was like, how are they in the cockpit?
You mean you couldn't have thought that up yourself?
If they didn't tell me,
I
if they,
expected more from you.
actually, if they don't tell me, especially with a child, if they don't tell you, you can't assume because otherwise it's going to be wrong.
Yeah.
It's like in the Power Rangers when you have the Megazord. Like, shouldn't Kimberly be like sideways, and shouldn't the other two Zords be like leaning back and stuff? How do they all end up in the cockpit, like sitting straight up? And their Zords are all at different angles and turning and stuff.
I agree.
Well, in the movie,
They
that
get
was kind of
transported into
explained,
their
wasn't it?
cockpit.
I agree. Based on the way the pterodactyl goes, it would be much cooler if they go back there and suddenly Kimberly's on her back with her legs spread out. I'd thought.
No, but wasn't that kind of explained in the movie? You know, that was basically about season 3, but it was pretty much similar. Basically, what would happen was their chair would go out of their cockpit and into the main cockpit of the Megazord.
Yeah.
By a rail or something.
Cracking fast.
That was awesome.
We've seen that in a lot of seasons where they're transported to the cockpit.
Yeah. So I always assumed it was something like that.
Yeah.
Makes sense. But I believe Crimson had a second one.
Yes, I do. Another season I think is vastly underrated is Power Rangers RPM.
Yay!
It was the last season that Disney produced, and it was supposed to be the last of the series until Saban bought the rights back. But anyway,
technically, last season Disney produced MMPR 2010, as reviewed in our last podcast.
Yeah, well, anyway.
Saved by the Bell.
Hey, it's my turn. Okay.
Okay.
This is a lot of the one thing that people miss all the time is that this is the first season where the villain actually took over Earth. Albeit it was in a different dimension than all of our other Ranger seasons, but still,
it counts.
The first dude that, he actually took over the Earth, and they were like living in an apocalypse.
Technically, didn't MMPR do something similar with the world being taken over when they all became kids and we got the god-awful alien rangers who had to come because mutants had taken over?
Yeah, but it wasn't, they didn't totally up everything,
It was official in that point.
Technically, they made the alien rangers, so yes, they did completely up everything because the alien rangers was horrible. Horrible! Damn you alien rangers, but continue with Hakumen.
Besides the point. Anyway, I feel like people really dismiss these characters, even though this was some of the most amazing backstories ever. Like each one, they focus on their backstory, and how they all had their reasons for fighting. Like Scott, for example, was kind of fighting to avenge his fallen brother. Flynn was Scott, the Red Ranger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Flynn was fighting because he wanted to make a difference in the world, and he had always looked up to superheroes when he was little, and he finally earns his father's approval of being one.
Mm-hmm.
And Summer fights because in her episode,
wasn't she like a rich girl or something?
she was a really rich snob, and
No.
on her way to Corinth, she learns her butler says to her, she asks her butler, why do you put up with me? I'm horrible. And he's like, because I'm waiting to for the real Summer to show. And so I feel like she's fighting to how do I say this? Kind of avenge him, I guess. To show him that she can change, and
she wanted to better herself.
Yes.
So
and
to develop.
the last thing I want to point out is I really loved that their mentor was the one who completely everything up by making Venjix, and that was one
awesome.
of the big shockers when I saw it. I was like, what? Crazy.
I love that, man. I mean, I do love RPM, because, you know, like you said, it's end of the freaking world, and they actually, you know, they actually took a bit of time with it. I mean, so you got,
Yeah.
so it wasn't just a case of, right, these are the heroes, like them. You know,
Yeah.
they actually had a few flaws. You got to learn the backstory. By the way, on that note, Grimmy, did the whole Ranger episodes, like, you know, when you're finding out about their lives and stuff, did that remind you of Lost?
Never seen it.
Dude, really?
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Anyway,
I'll admit I didn't like RPM. However, I do have one thing to say about the series. The Black Ranger, is it Dylan?
yeah.
Yes.
Oh my god, does he look like Tom Welling from Smallville? When he's tossing guys around in the prison and stuff, I'm like, yes, I expect that. He's a Kryptonian. I thought I had to add.
I will admit I never really saw much of RPM, so I don't really have an opinion.
Bloody
I highly recommend you watch it.
yeah, it's pretty awesome. Is it my turn now?
Yeah, I'm done.
Because I've been pretty quiet for a change. That's not like me. Good God, everyone's actually getting a word in for a change. Bloody hell. Alright, I gotta go with Jungle Fury. Mainly because I saw Geki Ranger prior to it. I'm gonna give a shout out to KRD. Thank you, Kamen Decade, for actually sending me to see Geki Ranger. And so I was excited about it, and I actually watched it all the way through, which surprised the heck out. It surprised me, which I don't like. And you know, so I like the kung fu stuff, and I like the fact that, like, yeah, Casey with a motorbike wanted me to shoot the bike or blow it up or something, but you know what? Despite that, I like the fact that, you know, he didn't jump at the call. He actually, I know that some people say, like, oh, he angsting and whining, but come on, that's what you would do. I mean, you wouldn't just jump at it, man. I mean, come on, you're going in to fight evil and possibly dying on a regular basis.
Right.
Yeah, that's not something you want to be all, yay, let's do it kind of thing. No, I don't want to do that. Screw that. And I liked Jared, you know, with him being Daishi and stuff, and I liked his development as a character and all that. And come on, he got to kick ass, man.
I'll admit I
Yeah.
like Jungle Fury. I'll get to that after you finish, but I will say I did like. He was the one thing I did like about the series. His costume looks awesome. He was played awesome. I like Jared.
Amen to that, brother. And I know that Spades, he was probably going to hate me for this one, but I like RJ.
Yes.
Yeah,
RJ's
he
my
was awesome.
favorite.
Yeah. Okay, I know that Spades here hates RJ, but me, I liked him. You know, I just thought he was cool. I mean,
He was different. Like, he was different than
yeah,
other
it
characters
wasn't.
we've seen. He was one of a kind, really.
Yeah, it wasn't just like, oh yes, I'm wise and old, I'm the mentor. It was like, dude, yo, sup?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, you have to save the world, but you're living under my roof, you're gonna work for it, kind of thing. And who doesn't love the color purple? Come on.
Yeah,
First Purple Ranger ever.
yeah. I will say, did not like him. Did not like RPM. Oh, not RPM. Didn't like that either. But didn't like Jungle Fury. And watching Jungle Fury, I started to kind of like it at first. It's like, okay, I think Lily, the Yellow Ranger, was it Lily?
Yeah.
She was kind of cool. The team dynamic was kind of cool. Then they started to focus more and more on RJ, which, like I said, I got a massive problem with him as it's a kid show, and clearly the guy's a stoner. That shouldn't be in a kid show. That's why I don't let my little niece and nephew, who are of age, to watch it. That's the only season they won't watch. Hate him. Hate RJ. He's worse than Justin. And like people said, he's one of a kind. Justin was one of a kind. What was your season? Mr. Aging Phoenix.
Well, I actually liked Operation Overdrive.
No,
And,
seriously, please.
No, I must admit, I first watched Bokenja, which is the Sentai version, and
Yeah.
I already like that, and I'm one to overlook flaws in a season if they're not too baked into the whole theme, like it was with Lightspeed, which I really didn't like. But in Operation Overdrive, I think it was a lot of good things. Especially when I saw the first episode, I felt like, well, I mean, I know they don't have a lot of money, but it felt kind of epic still. And I think there was a few characters that weren't played very well. The actors weren't very good, but
Will.
I didn't mind Will. I actually thought that what
Oh,
was her
this-
name? That female female
Ronnie?
villain.
Oh, Miratrix.
What about
Yeah,
Margaret?
I hated her. I was like, well, can't they just remove her and let the rest of the season be? But
She was hot though. Can't deny that.
What about
I don't care if they are a bad actor.
Yeah, but like I said, what about Margaret? Suffering Succotash, I'm Mark, and I'm here to save the day.
Nah, like
What?
I said, I overlooked those things. I felt that there was still quite a bit of the story, and yeah, obviously the powers and the vehicles and everything were pretty awesome. So
Yeah, the
And
Zords, the Zords and the suits were definitely the best thing
Yeah.
about that series. They were awesome.
yeah,
I do like
I
the
felt
ones
that
with the-
especially the gear was very good, and the story was pretty okay, and I felt that the way it was taped or recorded was it made it look like there was more money in it than I think there was. So yeah, I wouldn't say it was a great season, but it was definitely not as bad as some people pretend it is.
Yeah, that's
So yeah, that's my pick.
Awesome.
And I tried to ask below, did you have an underrated season, Geeky Girl 15?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I've only seen the 2010 one and the Mighty Morphin. But I have to say, after watching the 2010 one and then going back to the regular Mighty Morphin, I kind of now like the 2010 one because it's extra cheesy, and it's just so cheesy. It's like makes it awesomer. Except for the spoilers, I hate that. But like,
Is everyone
I think
drunk?
No, I can actually agree with her.
I like the retarded 80s bullshit they put in there, and the 90s Saved by the Bell retardation and stuff. It's just funny now, and it's cheesy, and I like it.
You see, I admit, like we discussed in the last podcast, I believe you were there, Geeky Girl. I actually do like 2010. I'll admit it's underappreciated. It was fun.
I like things I can enjoy and make fun of at the same time.
Exactly.
The only thing I have against the 2010 MMPR is why would you take something that's already good and try to change it? Why not just leave it as it is?
If that's the case, why does Power Rangers exist? As people already say the Sentai is good.
Because it's you
More-
aren't going to get kids
More for the
watching
kiddies, though.
Japanese
This is for
show.
5-year-olds. Or
Yeah, that's
3-year-olds.
that's why I don't like the seasons that try to copy the Sentai story a lot, because I'm like, well, I've already seen this. Especially with Wild Force, I think that was an issue.
See, on unrelated seasons, I'll do one more before we wrap this up. The one I say is underappreciated, and it counts. I spoke to Crimson Ranger before, and it does count. Masked Rider, Ectophase, activate. But one of the reasons people hate Masked Rider, it seems to be everyone hates it because they're like, oh, it's not as good as Kamen Rider. It's not as good as Kamen Rider. I'm like, I don't care. I didn't watch Kamen Rider at the time. All I knew as a kid, it span off Power Rangers. It was like Power Rangers. It was fun.
Yeah. Funny enough, if you think about it, though, I mean, I saw Master Rider when I was a kid. So, I think Krim and me are like the youngest people in this whole podcast. But anyway,
Yeah, I've never seen Master Rider.
yeah. But if you
Don't
think
kill
about it, the Western audience would not have Kamen Rider if we hadn't been introduced to Master Rider. So there you go.
Is that true though? I mean, I know that I've only started watching Kamen Rider because I was watching Super Sentai. Either way, the thing is though with Masked Rider, for me it wasn't so much that it was worse than Kamen Rider because I obviously didn't know it back then. But I felt it wasn't as good as Power Rangers. It was just, I don't know, it didn't grab me the same way Power Rangers did. It just didn't work like many other shows, or well, I say many, the same way other shows didn't really grab me that and didn't grab a lot of people that tried to feed off the attention that Power Rangers was having.
You're breathing a little too heavy. Hakumen.
Yes, well, I can't help breathing, otherwise I'd be dead.
No, I was trying to say the microphone was too close to the...
Oh, right, sorry.
Because all we could hear when he was talking, and all we could hear after every word was a dramatic...
So back up your head.
But yeah, Masked Rider, it was fun. What I liked about Masked Rider most as a kid, Power Rangers, it was about the ensemble, getting together as one and fighting and stuff. Masked Rider was about a kid in high school with superpowers trying to save the world. It was almost Spider-Man comic bookish with one hero and his supporting cast, which is kind of like some Power Ranger seasons with one Ranger and the supporting cast, but still, this was him saving the day with a talking car, a talking bike, and he had different modes like Masked Rider Gold and Blue. It was kind of cool.
That reminds me of a fanfic that I once saw by a guy called Thunder Megazord, I think it was, who actually made a fanfic called Tommy and his other 5 less important friends.
Yeah.
Wait, that was actually a fanfic?
That was a fanfic, yeah.
For real?
It was.
That's how it is. But I like the whole like bromance thing they have between Tommy and Jason. Like they're always like, who's the top, struggle for power.
And I would give my opinion on that, but that would start us on a whole new debate, which we've had many times, on which was better, Jason or Tommy.
Oh, I didn't argue
That
say
could be the topic for the next
I just enjoyed their play on each other and the romance.
No, next topic. Which one's better, Jason or Tommy? And please, we're after anyone who likes Tommy to only join the discussion. What? Jason fans, no, you're too dumb to live.
Ouch.
All right.
I'm kidding. Jason's not a bad Ranger from Zeo on.
He just has bigger boobs than a girl.
But yeah, we're going to wrap this up now. I think we've discussed the underrated seasons. See, underrated seasons, even the worst seasons out there, it seems we can all find at least something redeemable or something good in them. And
right.
at the end of the day, Power Rangers has managed to survive for like 20 years or so. So they must have something there. I was your host of this podcast, Chris, aka The Mole. See ya.
Bye.
Or as Gold Phoenix Ranger would say, your vision, our vision, Ranger vision. But he's not here, so see ya.
Wait, he
Go
actually says
Megaforce.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, go Megaforce, starring Crimson Ranger as Robo Knight.
Ranger Vision, yay!
Ranger Vision, yay!
Oh my god, I'm actually hearing this.
But see ya.
Ranger Vision, yay!
Alright, later y'all.